Those who scale steep slopes more than 6,500 feet to the summit of Mount LeConte know every strenuous step hammers home the 3 rules of the mountaineer. It is always further, always taller, and always harder than it looks.
It's been kind of eye-opening.
Especially during the depths of a record-setting winter. Even for an experienced man who meets the mountains for a living.
I haven't ever heard of a polar vortex before this past winter, so.
This is John Paul Kroll's 3rd year carrying the torch of the winter caretaker at the Leconte Lodge. These cabins close from November to March, and when the rest of the crew climbs down, Kroll stays as the summit's sole resident, all alone during a few months of deep freeze.
Usually just me, myself, and I. Water we have to haul up, so I have to go down to the spring, which is about 0.2 miles from here, and carry it up in jugs. Electricity, we have a solar panel for chargers and Park Service radio and stuff like that. Satellite radio. This is my big indulgence for the season. When I get over this mountain, you know where I wanna go. Lights, generally we rely on the kerosene.
When the winter sun gives way to glowing city lights below, the icy darkness usually sends Kroll to slumber snug in his cabin.
Propane heat, yeah, and my cabin's pretty toasty. It's a small space, so that's usually where I run to.
Kroll rises with the sun and repeats a daily routine that revolves around recording and reporting the wildly unpredictable weather at the summit.
We check the rain gauge, and we haven't had any precipitation all day yesterday, so this is how we check the weather. It's just a little high-low gauge and current temperature, and call it into the National Weather Service. Yeah, that's pretty much my main responsibility up here.
Then Kroll counts on a single bar of cell service to connect to the lodge website and update the daily blog.
Weather conditions out to people, so if they're going to hit the trail today, they're able to have like a better idea, hear what it's like up top, get some photos up.
And this winter's photos through crystal clear air are unforgettably frigid.
This year was just super cold. Probably in 3 seasons I had like my 5 coldest nights up here. We're down to -18, -17. When before that, I think the lowest I saw was -5 one night. Those mornings with the polar vortex, we don't have insulation in the kitchen, and I'd wake up and it was 10 degrees in there with the heater on full blast. You could tell, like, without even looking at the thermometer, that you're wearing everything you got and you have good gear, and it's still cutting through you.
And John Paul says the hardest thing about being up at the top of Mount LeConte during the winter isn't necessarily the cold temperatures or the snow. It's whenever there's a freeze and a thaw, and all of this snow turns into one big sheet of ice. And making even the shortest hike safely requires some specialized equipment.
So make sure you got your spikes on. It's been so long where you just have to worry about falling and, have a little bit of anxiety while you're walking.
After 3 months frozen solid, Kroll finally savors a sun-soaked splash of spring that melted most of the snow.
Man, has this been like the warmest week since you've been up here?
Yeah, I forgot how much I missed it.
And after a season full of negative temperatures, a day with a high in the upper 40s seems positively perfect for shorts.
Try to enjoy the clear trails. When you can just go into cruise control and jet up and down the mountain, it's as good as it gets.
And no matter how low the mercury dips, Kroll says the job of caretaker comes with a lot more personal highs.
Sunrise and sunset. Yeah, I just, want to share this with everyone. I think people become their best selves when they're out here and it's your backyard. It's easy to take for granted the fact that you live in a place that's remarkable. Just seeing what's around the next corner.
And savor heavenly sights that saturate the skies and send spirits soaring high on Mount LeConte.
Sometimes it's just, mind-blowing up here.
In the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, Jim Matheny, WBIR 10 News.